how many times you set out to do something that you know is meaningful, something you know is exciting to you, something that hopefully creates some level of happiness for you. You set yourself up for it, and you are about to do it, or you want to accomplish it, or you want to go about it. And right then, right there, something inside of you tells you, no, you're not good for this. You don't have what it takes. Um, or maybe not that extreme, something along the lines of you need to work a little bit more, like learn it, kind of do a little bit more of it, and then you can go do the bigger one. Something like that. If that's who you are and that has happened to you, then this video is for you. I have been consulted upon by people who have told me, including some of my coaching clients, who have told me that I don't want to record and publish a video because I'm worried somebody is going to write some negative comment about me, or somebody is going to critique me. And my response has always been, back in the day when there was no social media, and all this along the way, all through all these years, my response has been, what if, forget about what people are telling you or what people are saying about what you're doing, but what if something within you is even has a louder voice, something that's going to cripple you, something is telling you, listen, don't do this. Now, how do you deal with that? Well, turns out a lot of people, a lot of successful people around, doesn't matter what field they are in, oftentimes deal with this inner critique that that speaks up and then blocks the growth, blocks the progress, and creates doubt and creates the conflict. So what I want to do on this video is I want to walk you through 6 steps to this, on how you can yourself, without the help of anybody, without anybody ever knowing that you're going through this inner critique problem, and then you are falling into this pattern of self-sabotage, you can do it yourself. That's the idea. Now, if you take these steps and you can structure a self-hypnosis audio or a self-hypnosis auto-suggestion, that's the best way to say that, then this is amazing. It could create a lot of success, could create a lot of good result for you. Of course, you can take this to a therapist and work with the therapist one-on-one, then that's magical. So let me walk you through the structure, and then you see how best. My suggestion to you is you do this on your own, and it's a very simple process. And if you go back on this channel, and if you're a subscriber to this channel, there are some videos I talk about this, and there could be a podcast also where I did many years ago, specifically talking about this 6-step process. It's a very simple process. The first and the foremost is I want you to put an analyst hat. Step 1 is to put an analyst hat, and you start analyzing all the statements that your inner voice is making. So you sit down and you write, and practically, the idea is write as many as statements that you have ever encountered, and I want you to circle the ones that are real. See, the inner voice, the inner critique is not bad. It's just that it could fabricate a few things, but then it does have some truth to it. There are some elements of truth to the inner critique. So we want to capture the truth, and then we want to work on them, and everything, all the hype, all the false statements and all that, we need to avoid and we need to discard. So the best way to do that is to write them down. So write as many as recollect, write them if you can remember. But if you want to start really documenting, then start writing them as they happen. Literally take a paper and write down. Then the second thing is to trace the origin of this inner critique or all these inner critique statements. So when did this start happening? People say, I was perfectly fine for several years since I started working this job, but then just about 3-4 years ago, it all started. Me questioning myself, me when I'm alone, trying to put myself down, and the self-doubt started, and then I'm constantly sitting down and thinking, how bad I am and how I cannot make it anymore in this life and all. So it's important to trace the timeline. So I want you to first of all trace when it started, and then as you are trying to get a handle on tracing this, I want you to see whose voice are you using. Is it your parents' voice? Is it your teacher speaking to you in your own voice, but their voice or their thoughts, or is it somebody else? Um, when people tell you that you're not good, and you start telling yourself that you're not good, chances are that you telling yourself you're not good has a lot to do with somebody else, and it's not about you at all. And that's where we are going with this. So you got to trace the origin of this, and then the third step in this process is you got to let it go. And how do you let it go? You have to tell yourself the remarks that were made about you or to you in the past, they don't have any stance today where you stand. And when you compare your ambitions and your aspirations to the comments that were made to you, which have now become your inner critic, by the way. They made the statements long time ago, whoever made, but then those you have actualized those statements, they are now internal to you, and they're popping up, and they don't have any existence. So you got to, when somebody said something, they had no idea what they said. And since then, you have taken that inside of your unconscious mind has taken it, and now speaking to you as if it's happening in real time. And since that statement you ever heard and you ever took it in, since then a lot has changed in your life. You have moved on, and you are progressive, and you're looking forward to what life has for you, and you've come a long way. That's the point. So bottom line is, it's a false criticism that you have kind of put on your own self. So that has to go, right? So you got to let it go. And then the next step is to acknowledge the damage. I can say there is nothing wrong with self-criticism. You can criticize yourself. There's nothing wrong. The truth is, self-criticism is harmless, but it can cripple and block your growth, and along the way, your happiness. So that's the truth. It's harmless overall, but we end up spending a lot of time and energy and all that. Then there is a finite amount of time in the day, and if you keep on criticizing your own self sitting there alone, then there are some repercussions. There are it's like to begin with, it's a waste of time, and then it's a wrong use of energy, and then there are other implications like depression and loneliness and all. We don't want to get there. So we acknowledge it's harmless, but then we also have to acknowledge the fact that it it cripples us. So let's get over with that. um, the best way to deal with, and this is the step number 5, the best way to deal with this is to have a counter talk. The counter talk is, I have what it takes, and I can do this, and things along those lines. And you can call them statements of affirmation that you are affirming to yourself. You can pretty much categorize or summarize those statements like that, but you get the idea. You got to keep on telling that I have what it takes, I can do this, I'm good, whatever. And then there is also another statement that I've successfully used in hypnosis and self-hypnosis, and I practice this, which is, I am my best supporter. There is no other supporter who supports you more than you yourself. And people say, my parents are my biggest supporters. Yes, but they are supporting you as long as you are supporting yourself. So you are your best supporter. And people can accelerate your game, people can compound your game, people can support your game, but you got to have the game. within you. So you got to tell yourself that you are your best supporter and nobody else. They all are there. They all come in the queue, but you are your best supporter. And finally, the last one is you got to stay focused. So um, it's an incremental game. Like you can't tell yourself today and say I'm done, okay, with this. No, it doesn't work that way. So it's incremental. Um, you got to also believe that your own criticism of yours cannot stop the progress that which you are working for, or the growth that you are entitled because of all your hard work. Because it's not that you are constantly sitting on one corner of the room and are constantly critiquing yourself. Okay, so constantly criticizing yourself, whatever. You are not. You are spending the rest 23 hours, let's say, or a majority of the time that is given to you in the day on working on things. You are building, you are applying yourself. So for all that effort that you're putting in, it makes sense to have this mindset that even though you are having this pattern of critiquing yourself, but you also have the ability to create the success that you deserve. You are entitled for that success. Okay. Those are the 6 steps. That's all there is to this. And now you can take this and you can structure this inside a self hypnosis kind of a session that you're doing with your own self, or you can take this approach to a therapist and ask them, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Can you create a suggestion for me along these lines so that I can, or work with me one on one, or so that I can listen to this, something like that along those lines. So you get the idea. I'm hoping this was helpful. If it is, do me a favor, drop me a comment and let me know that it did, and that way I know that you're watching. If you are totally new to this channel, then a like and that would help. And if you subscribe to the channel, then I'm here in front of you literally every day. At least that had been my velocity or my cadence for the last 6 or 7 weeks now, that I'm coming on a daily basis. I'm recording a video. The idea is to help you, and majority of my content has to do with self-improvement, elements of therapy, self-therapy, hypnosis. We talk about some entrepreneurial things, and if you are, and occasionally I do create some content that helping other coaches who are in similar situation like me to kind of help them create breakthroughs in their own business and in their own work. So that's the purpose of this channel. And that's all there is to this. Wherever you are, you be safe, and I'll be with you as early as tomorrow. You take care. Bye now.